So the National Labor Relations Board just recently issued a complaint against Walmart, and that was on Wednesday of this week. Now they actually alleged that that Walmart had actually violated labor laws in 14 states through actions that it took against workers striking for minimum wage, a minimum wage increase. Now, according to the complaint, there were 19 employees that were actually discharged, allegedly as a result of their participation in these strikes. Now, 60 Walmart supervisors and 1 corporate officer are actually named within this filing. And most of the allegations in this complaint focus really on how management responded to the workers that participated in different stores in places like California, Kentucky, Texas, Washington, and other places where these strikes were held. Now, a lot of these employees say that they had received verbal and written warnings, formal reprimands, and other kinds of discipline, retaliatory strikes, because of their involvement within these strikes for improved wages and better working conditions.
I understand that they're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to fire people for striking and all that. But like our problems with Walmart, like I know for me and Jeff talking about this a lot. I haven't gotten your take on it, Jordan. It has to do with how they take advantage of government programs and use that to subsidize their workers' wages and their own like balance sheet. So I'm not exactly sure how I feel about this. Like they shouldn't have fired them. It's a dick move, but like if you're Walmart, it makes sense to try and fire them, like especially if they're agitators.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And Sean, I know how you always say like, yeah, they should. When it comes to low wage workers, that they should strike, and take their own action to do, to boost their wages and to fight for fair working conditions. So they're actually doing exactly what you want them to do.
Right. I actually figured out a way that the federal government could help them. If I was the federal government, because Walmart is the biggest beneficiary of food stamps in our country. Like they make
no doubt
food stamps are spent at Walmart more than any other place, and their workers receive food stamps more than any other group. So if I was the federal government and I wanted to mess with Walmart, what I would do is I would make them pick one. They could either use food stamps to subsidize their wages or their pocketbooks. And what that means is basically if you have a certain amount of workers who collect food stamps or are eligible to collect food stamps, then you as a store can no longer receive them. That way they're subsidizing other people's Walmart's competition instead of their bad behavior. And I actually think that is a fucking conservative solution, and it's something that we could all get on board with.
I think that is an excellent market-based solution. I don't think it's the best solution for the problem, but I think it is certainly an improvement over what we have. Yeah.
Yeah. If there's some sort of conservative solution that you could get Republicans on board to end because there are a lot of regular Republicans that hate the idea of corporate welfare. Now, when it comes to the Republican congressman, however, I don't think this would go over very well because, remember, Walmart has this huge lobbying arm.
I think if the federal government's food stamps are distorting the market in favor of Walmart, then we should try and figure out a way to diminish that. And like that's why I was like knocking ideas around, and that's one of the ones I came up with. So I would really like to stick it to them in that way. And it to me it makes sense, right? Because we're subsidizing their workers, and then their workers spend like 85% of their money in Walmart anyway. So we're basically paying Walmart to not pay their workers well, and I can't stand that. So that would be one of my solutions. But to get back on topic, like this is what Walmart does. Like the only Walmarts in the country that have security cameras are the ones where people have tried to form unions, because those are the only ones that they care about.
So I've got a perspective on this. One being from Arkansas, the home of Walmart, and two, I guess, am I the only one on the panel who's worked at Walmart before? Well, I've worked for Walmart before, and I wish I had this quote. We are what we're reporting from here is an Al Jazeera article. I actually NPR covered this same story tonight. I heard it on my drive in from work, and there was an excellent quote from a Walmart spokesperson, who she was like, we absolutely have a no retaliation policy that these are workers who were let go for disrupting, because not for striking, but for striking whenever they should have been at work, which disrupted the other workers' work schedules because they had to come work extra hours that weren't originally on their stuff, yada yada yada. They're like, we encourage our employees to come to us with this kind of things, which is complete BS. That's like part of your training as a Walmart employee. Again, I say this because I went through this training. They sit you down. There's a good half a day about if you try to unionize, we will fire you. If you hear about someone trying to unionize and don't report it, we will fire you. They specifically tell you trying to unionize will get you fired. There is very much a retaliatory policy in place at Walmart when it comes to workers fighting for their rights.
No, see, you're totally wrong. They said they don't have a retaliatory policy. They just retaliate, but there's no like stated policy just on the down low. But I've actually had a friend to give you you guys an idea of how bad Walmart is. Like Jordan worked there, so he probably experienced this. But my friend Kevin used to work there, and I use his real name because he doesn't work there. And he would work like 42 hours one week, and they would pay him for 40, so they wouldn't pay him for the 2 hours of overtime, and give him that money later on another paycheck, which is totally illegal. But they do that, like they do those kind of shenanigans anyway. So like Walmart, they'll do anything they can to keep the wages down there, which is why they should have some kind of unionized effort to fight back against them, especially since you can't ship those jobs overseas.
That's true. Whenever I was working there, it was 2006. I should have looked this up because I'm sure I'm going to flub these numbers. So if I get a couple details wrong, please guys understand I'm doing this off the cuff. But I worked there between my freshman and sophomore year of college. It was a summer job. Like Jeff talked about it. I couldn't find another job in time, so I had to work at Walmart. And there's a Walmart in every town in Arkansas. Anyway, they passed a policy while I was working there where they capped hourly wages. So employees, I don't know if this policy is still in place. There was a lot of backlash over it. But employees who were on an hourly pay scale, so which of course means lower on the totem pole, no matter how long you worked there and how well you did, you got capped at a certain wage, and you could never get a raise after you hit that wage. And I'm not going to say what the number is because I'll get it wrong, and I don't want to, put false information out there. But there were people in the departments around me. I was in sporting goods. There was a gentleman in the hardware department right across the way from us who had been working there for like 15 years. There was another lady who had been there for like 25 years. And these were people, their wages were capped, and they could never get another raise again, despite giving a quarter of a century to the company. It's ridiculous.
That happened to my friend. My friend, he works in a state with he worked in a state with a higher minimum wage that was around like $8.30. I'm not exactly sure it was Connecticut, so I'm not exactly sure what their state minimum wage is. And he'd never made in 2 years working there. He never got above $9 an hour. Like it was always just a little bit below. And that was like crazy to me because I worked in a mall selling remote control helicopters. I started at 7, I ended at 10. I worked there for 6 months, and I already got not a massive wage increase, but like a decent wage increase for a kid, right? And like this guy spends 2 years there, and they're doing all these shenanigans. So Walmart it's a shitty company, and I just wouldn't want to, and that's why I don't want to subsidize. I was trying to figure out a way to not hurt the people receiving food stamps, but to kind of stick it to Walmart, and that's why I just don't want to subsidize their wages anymore. And the thing is, we actually punish by the way that our food stamp program is, we actually punish companies like Costco that will pay better wages because Costco doesn't have all their employees on food stamps willing to spend all that money in Costco right away. Like the typical Walmart employee will get off work, do all their shopping in store, and then go home. So that's an incredible advantage that Walmart has, and I think that's total bullshit.
Totally. I'm glad you brought up Costco. This information is old. This is almost a decade old. This is from 2004. But having worked at Walmart since then, I can promise you that this mentality has not changed. This is a breakdown between, the source here is Business Week, between the way Costco does business and the way Walmart does business. And you'll see Costco paid their employees substantially more, gave them more health care, covered more of them, had a better retirement plan, and covered more retirement plans. And then if you go down, their profits per employee are still $2,000 more. So not only is this approach by Walmart just reprehensible, for people like Jeff and I who are liberals, but people on the right shouldn't be for this. One, for the food stamp issue that's been brought up, like we're subsidizing those low prices. It's pure, socialism. But two, it doesn't. It's not good. It's not a sound business model. It's sound for the very, very top or whatever at Walmart. But Costco comes along and shows, and in all fairness, Costco is more competition for Sam's than it is Walmart. But that same mentality that's at Walmart is certainly at Sam's. But they show that you can come around and take care of your employees, and this is the great liberal argument, that whenever you take care of your employees, whenever you work to build a middle class from the bottom up, it benefits everyone. And Costco's bottom dollar is proof of that. When you pay your people and give them a job that they can be proud of, they do their job with pride and perform it better. Go figure.
Oh,
right.
Who knew?
And Costco, one of the things that bugs me about Costco is that they should be benefiting more from what they're doing. Like Henry Ford, when he paid his workers $5 an hour, and everybody goes back to this analogy. But one of the things that people don't realize is that he drove up the wages at the other auto companies, right? Mm-hmm. So the way our policies are working, our federal government policies, and we give Walmart like tax advantages, like all these things where they relocate, like they won't pay taxes in a certain city for a few years or whatever. Like all these advantages that we're giving them are like downplaying what Costco's trying to do, because Costco should be driving up the Walmart employee's wage.
Going back to the original NLRB complaint, is that of course there was another step that the administrative law judge is actually going to take, and that they want to oversee a trial to determine whether or not Walmart doing these retaliatory strikes against their workers or former workers, if they broke the law, and figure out if Walmart did break the law.
Well, we also got to note that this is kind of a positive turn for the NLRB, because when the Walmart workers were striking before Thanksgiving, like one of the things that the NLRB did was release a statement saying, well, technically you're not allowed to strike unless you're already a union, right? Which was total nonsense. So I give the NLRB some credit for kind of doing a reversal on that. But,
all right.
Yeah. 3 cheers for the Walmart worker.
That's right. We're definitely with the Walmart workers on this. Hopefully, you'll get some sort of compensation for what happened to you. So, for exercising your right to fight for fair wages and better working conditions.